Picture this. You're stuck in traffic, and that one driver decides to cut you off. Your immediate reaction? Anger, maybe even a few choice words. But hold on a second. This is a choice. It's not about what they did. It's about how you choose to respond. And yes, your brain is screaming to explode. But here's the trick. You don't owe anyone a reaction. You're not a hostage to what others do. What you choose to think and how you act is what defines your peace. The first step in self-mastery starts right here. You decide what gets to affect you and what doesn't. That alone shifts everything. If you understand this, you're already halfway there. Now think about WhatsApp for a moment. The message was read, but there's no response. You start wondering, what happened? Did I say something wrong? Here's the key. Stop waiting for validation from anyone to feel okay. This is a trap. What's behind this behavior? The need for approval. But real transformation starts when you break free from that. The absence of a reply doesn't define your worth. If you keep basing your self-esteem on what others do or don't do, you're handing over your power. Your peace is yours to control, not theirs. Get comfortable with the silence. It's your call, always. Let's get real for a second. Ever been in a meeting where you felt completely ignored? Your point wasn't even acknowledged. You want to speak up, to get heard. But then something clicks. Why am I so triggered by this? Here's the deal. It's not the situation that's the problem. It's your attachment to being recognized. Self-worth doesn't come from external validation. You don't need the approval of others to feel valuable. The truth is, the more you let go of the need for recognition, the more you actually own your own power. It's a quiet but unstoppable strength. And that's where your real influence starts. Picture this. Someone cuts you off again in the conversation. They speak over you. It's frustrating, right? But here's the breakthrough. You don't need to prove anything. No need to snap back. No need to fight for attention. What if I told you that silence is actually a superpower? You don't always need to respond. In fact, often the most powerful response is no response at all. When you learn to sit in that silence, to breathe through that tension, you gain control. You're no longer governed by the chaos around you. Self-discipline is the ability to stay composed, no matter what's going on. And in that composed state, you'll see everything clearly. You're no longer a slave to the noise. Let's talk about perfectionism. You know that feeling when you're about to hit send on an email or post that project and you just keep thinking, it's not perfect yet. You're stuck in an endless loop of tweaking. Sound familiar? Here's the truth. Perfectionism is the enemy of progress. It's your brain telling you that anything less than perfect isn't good enough. But here's what you need to remember. Progress happens in the mess, in the doing. If you keep waiting for everything to line up perfectly, you'll never take that first step. You don't need everything to be flawless to move forward. Start messy, start now. Perfectionism is just fear disguised as high standards. Now think about those moments when you're sitting with your thoughts, overthinking everything. You replay that conversation, wondering if you said the right thing, or if you could have done something differently. But here's the kicker. Overthinking is just your brain trying to protect you from discomfort. It's your ancient brain telling you to analyze every detail, to play it safe. But real growth happens outside of that safe zone. You'll never level up if you keep second-guessing yourself. The key to breaking the cycle of overthinking is taking action, even imperfect action. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Make the move. Once you do, the noise in your head quiets down and you feel more in control. Here's something you might not want to hear. Your emotions are not facts. That wave of anger you feel when someone cuts you off in traffic? It's just a chemical reaction in your body, a momentary spike in energy. But you don't have to let that emotion define you. You can pause, breathe, and remind yourself that emotions are temporary. They come and go, and you don't have to react to every one of them. This is where emotional mastery comes in. Mastering your emotions means not letting them dictate your actions. They're a signal, not a sentence. You get to choose your response, and that's the real power. Ever caught yourself scrolling through social media and suddenly feeling inadequate? Everyone's life seems better. Their career is ahead of yours. Their relationships look perfect. But here's the thing. You're comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. People aren't sharing the full story, the messy parts, the failures. Real growth happens when you focus on your own journey, not someone else's. When you look at someone else's success and feel envy, remember, success isn't a zero-sum game. There's room for everyone to win. Focus on your growth. Your story is just as important as theirs. The only person you need to compete with is who you were yesterday. Let's talk about failure for a minute. You've probably been there, right? You put your heart into something and it falls flat. The immediate instinct? Blame yourself. I wasn't good enough. I should have tried harder. But here's the hard truth. Failure is just feedback. It's not a reflection of your worth. It's information on what to improve. Every successful person you admire has failed 1,000,000 times. They've just learned how to turn that failure into a stepping stone. You don't learn from success. You learn from failing and adjusting. So the next time you fail, don't internalize it. Embrace it as a lesson and use it to fuel your next move. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed by your to-do list. It felt like there were 100 things pulling you in different directions, and you couldn't catch a break. But here's a little secret. Clarity is your greatest asset. When you have a clear goal, it cuts through the noise. The distractions, they fade. The stress, it melts away. Focus on one thing at a time and block out everything else. Your ability to concentrate on one task without jumping between 10 different things is your key to success. The next time you feel overwhelmed, pause and ask yourself, what's the one thing that needs to be done right now? Do that and let everything else fall into place. Here's something that hits hard. You don't need to be perfect to be successful. Perfectionism can paralyze you. It keeps you stuck in an endless loop of self-doubt, waiting for the perfect time to act. But think about it. How many opportunities have you missed because you kept waiting for everything to be just right? The reality is, successful people don't wait for perfection. They adapt and move forward. They fail, they adjust, and they keep going. If you want to level up, you need to be okay with starting before you're ready. Action over perfection. Always. Now, let's get into something real. How many times have you let someone's words or actions completely throw you off course? Maybe someone criticized you, or something didn't go your way, and it wrecked your day. But here's the reality. People's actions and words are reflections of their own experiences, not yours. What they say or do says more about them than it does about you. And the minute you let their actions control your mood, you give away your power. You are in control of your own emotional response. No one else gets to dictate how you feel. That's your domain, your space. Protect it. Let's talk about peace for a moment. We all want it, right? But peace isn't something you find outside of yourself. It's not in the perfect relationship, the perfect job, or the perfect situation. Peace comes from within. It's about knowing that no matter what's happening around you, you're in control of your inner world. Life is messy. It's chaotic. But you get to decide how you respond. And if you choose to respond with calm, clarity, and composure, you can navigate anything that comes your way. Peace doesn't come from avoiding the storm. It comes from learning how to stand tall in the middle of it. So, here's the final piece. You have the power to shift your mindset. Everything starts with a thought. If you want to level up, you need to take responsibility for your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. The key to transformation is not some far-off goal, it's the small, everyday choices you make. So start now. You don't have to wait for the right moment. Take control today. Step into your power. Because the moment you realize that you are the creator of your own reality, that's when everything starts to change. And that's when you'll look back and say, I've got this.